Hello, this is Gio. Hey, we're in the back seat of this car, and you can kind of see we have some nice leather upholstery here, but I want to show you something a little disturbing. There you go. Look at these really deep cuts, pretty long cuts. I'm not even sure how this happened. I think an object was probably back here when it was being moved and had sharp edges, but it really did quite the job on this lovely upholstery. So today I want to try to repair this as best I can, and I'm going to be using a product from Permatics right here. Hopefully you can see it there. There you go. It is a vinyl and leather repair kit. So this repair kit says it repairs tears, holes, burns, gashes, and gouges. And it has some easy to follow instructions, which are good. So hopefully this repair kit will do the trick. But now I have to admit that I have done a vinyl repair job once, many years ago. I forgot even which product I used, but I think it was similar to this one. But it was a little tiny hole, and I was able to get it reasonably well. And I mean, you could kind of notice it, but if you're not looking at it, it was a pretty good repair job. But this is pretty extensive. There's a lot of deep cuts, and so I think this will be a very good test of how good these repair kits can be. So opening up the package, you first see kind of a little iron, a heat tool, which I believe is used to kind of cure the color compound once you're ready to finish up the work. Here's an assortment of 7 different colors that you can mix to kind of match the color of your leather. I think one of these, there's an 8th one, which I believe is a hardening. Here it is. Yes, a powder hardener, which I believe is more for dashboards. This kind of softer leather, we won't be using that. It's for kind of if you're dealing with maybe a harder surface like that to harden it. You have a few little pieces of texturing, so you kind of use that when you're actually finishing off the work with the iron to try to match the texture. There's a little tube here of adhesive and filler, which I think those should be enough there. We have some instructions here, which we will follow precisely. Some technical repair troubleshooting notes, and then we kind of have this little card which has various colors. I assume this will help us mix the right color. Okay, so I unstapled the little contents of the paper, and one of them is kind of a little vinyl piece you're supposed to use for kind of match. You can mix and match colors here and then compare. But there's also only one piece of backing cloth, and that could be a problem just because of how many spots I need. I do not believe that the single piece will be adequate for all this. So if you have substantial damage like that, that may be a problem. So this looks like this the contents is pretty limited in terms of backing paper. There's also 3 different textured papers here, which you will use to match the textures. Now, the issue with the backing paper, now it did come with this little vinyl piece, but the back of it has a fabric as well. So I think and it's actually stiffer than the backing fabric. So I think if I just kind of cut these in place and kind of use this as backing, I think I'm hoping that this will work the same way, and then I could just use another piece of paper or something as a mixing kind of a template. So the first thing the instructions say is just generally make sure that your surface is clean. Use a cleaner to clean it off. You don't want any dirt or residue around it. Also, if there's a lot of frayed edges here, these cuts are relatively clean, but if there's a lot of frayed edges, they recommend that you take a little razor blade and kind of clean it off, as just so there's no frayed material that can kind of stick up. I have kind of cut these little cloth pieces to somewhat of a size that hopefully They will all fit like this, something like that. Now the next thing you're supposed to do is kind of use your little knife here to poke them in. Now I've kind of left probably 1/3 of an inch on either side of these cuts. So when you poke these things in, just kind of use the knife to get it underneath here, and then position the piece underneath as best you can so the adhesive will hold properly. So I think I got them in pretty well. The fabrics are as flat as I can get, and they seem to be covering all sides. Then I use this adhesive compound and filler. It has a little cap to kind of pop the top like that. And then you apply it to your little spatula like this. Like that. And then you sort of work it underneath, and essentially you're gluing the fabric onto the leather and upholstery as best you can. And this is basically what's going to give the repair strength. So you want to make sure it gets all down there. And this will dry in about 4 hours, and it will kind of shrink. So it's not meant to kind of fill the product. You kind of just try to just wipe it off, flush, and then hopefully the cuts will be secure. So unfortunately I was not able to get all this glue residue off the sides. I used some isopropyl alcohol, and I tried to peel up as much as I could, but just a warning to everybody applying this glue, try to keep it as close into the damaged section as possible. It's a little messy, and hopefully I could recover when I actually apply the color. And so I did go ahead and mix the color, as you can see right here. Here's some color. And then I kind of applied it to a little piece, and I think it's a fairly good match. We'll see after it gets cured. Now to mix this color, I did a lot of white, a lot of brown, some black, and just a tad of yellow. So you know, my eyesight isn't very good with regards to color, so I hope I did a good job, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm just going to start with this one right here. We're going to fill the damaged section with this compound. And just kind of feather it out a little bit. Next, I'm going to apply the texture to it and then tape it down to prevent it from slipping. And then with the iron, for about 30 to 40 seconds, 45 seconds, we'll just apply the heat. Okay, and then we'll let cool. Okay, with the cool, we'll just take the tape off. Well, the color is not perfect. Maybe I could add a little bit more black and go over this again. But I'll add some black and maybe do a spot over here and see if I can do a little bit better. And there you go, the final results. The color did not come out a perfect match. I was having a lot of trouble matching the color. I tried several times, went over some spots. I think I added some brown, some additional yellow, and even some green, and it's still not a perfect match, but the repair itself feels pretty strong. It's fairly smooth, and the texture came out pretty well. I mean, what can you do? I mean, it was a pretty damaged section. If you do want to try some of these repairs, again, it's small little patches probably work the best. You could probably get a pretty good match, and you may not even notice it at the end. But with all these multiple spots here, it was very difficult, and but it is a strong repair. So hopefully this will last a while. Well, I hope this video helped you out, and good luck on your own repairs. Hopefully you can get a better color match than I did. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.